We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. It's starting up. There we go. Hey, everybody. It's Jason Blaha here, just getting morning cardio in on the bike. I already did over a 2-hour walk on Facebook. Now I'm going to stream on Facebook and YouTube concurrently. Hopefully, we get a good solid stream going here. Hoping so. I'm also going to get the Facebook profile open and let's do a little triple streaming. Right? Got to do that triple stream. Never a bad thing. We might as well just triple dip on everything. It's all monetized at this point, right? So let's make the most of it. All right. And then I'll get to everybody's questions, comments, all this beautiful stuff, which will be happening here shortly. It's going to take people a minute to get in here anyway, so not really a super big rush. And all right. And everything is up and running. So we now have all three platforms streaming. So I'm going to say hello to everybody and let's try to get a nice, good stream. So as I've said before, a lot of the YouTube people are like, oh no, you're going to be doing all the Facebook. Well, it doesn't mean we're not going to do these. We're still going to do the bike. I'm just not going to be doing really much outdoor walking at all on here because YouTube is my second platform. It's my secondary platform, guys. All right. Even at this point, I'm pulling more clients out of Facebook than I am YouTube. But I haven't forgotten about you people. So, we'll see if we get a good lively stream. Had decent views, it looks like on the Facebook one. But yeah. Plus the beauty of it is, I have to be honest with my YouTubers, man. It's the ads are way, way, way better on the bike sitting on the desk than they are on the mobile app. And it doesn't disconnect me. You know what I mean, guys? We have a continual stream. It's none of this, hey, we can't see the phone. Because I can see it. Like YouTube's platform actually makes it difficult to see the screen when it gets brighter. As soon as the phone heats up, it turns darker. Their interface goes dark. All right, everyone else's doesn't necessarily do that. But yeah, so we're getting this done. This one, we'll see how long we run it. I don't know how long I'm going to run it, however long I feel like. I'm at a point where with a lot of it, I don't care as long as we get lots of cardio in. There's plenty of lists. And I might do a little short weight vest walk here later before we eat breakfast at some point back on the Facebook. But like yesterday, I got in here, did the one longer stream mostly after my walk on a training day, and it did good. We got $10 in supers, decent number of views. So, as long as we get one every day, it still does really well. And I feel like people enjoyed it. But we've got likes going in. Got the live chat set, so I should be able to see comments. No comments yet. We'll see if we get our normal regulars, right? We'll get our normal regulars in here. Anything happening on Facebook yet? Nothing yet. Again, I've got the profile running for just a little bit. I don't run those real long always because they don't get as many views anyways. Because more comedy stuff, and any of my fitness people are following me on the other stuff anyways. Just most of my comedy people in there. But, still doing all those too, all the group posts. So hopefully we get some comments and questions here. So there we go. The views and likes are coming up on the YouTube, so we should be getting more. Facebook may or may not be live. I had like 70 comments, it looks like, on the walk this morning on Facebook. So had a few different people chime in, including a client. So yeah. But for those on the profile, this is just something I do. I go ahead and stream to you guys also to say hello to everyone. People can see my beautiful face, the guy who makes all those memes and jokes. But that one doesn't need to run long, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. And then we turn it into a reel, which does really well. Facebook really likes you doing all that. And by then, hopefully, we'll get some questions and comments and stuff happening here. Right? But it's mostly just likes, no comments yet on the tubes. How's Facebook doing? Just trucking along. It takes people a little bit to get in here. I might need to share and let people know that I'm doing a live also. might be important. Okay, so share that reel and plug this back in the charger so that it's good and charged for later in case I want to go do a bike walk. So I think I need to let people know that I'm live. What do you guys think? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I wanted to create a post to let people know. We're available on YouTube app now. What do you mean? It's wanting me to do something weird on the app. All right, that's strange. So I can't make a community post on my desktop all of a sudden. That is very weird. Let me see if I can do it here. This is YouTube just killing their own business. Right? They're like, let's just not let him make a community post on the desktop anymore without doing the app. Let's see if we can do one. Have to do it on the phone. All right. But this is really more complicated than it needs to be. Okay. Yep. Way more complicated than it needs to be. So I have no idea how to even make a community post now. They changed something. So I can't even let people know. Let me do something. Is there people posting? It's just not showing me. There we go. Got my serious mask ready for this one. There we go, Ted. Good to see you in here. So I don't know what's up. All of a sudden, we can't make community posts on the desktop anymore without using the app. That's strange. Michael Rush just saw your recent post. Cooked chicken with paprika. Coach, you need to air fry. Why? Did air fryers let me cook 5 to 10 pounds of meat at a time? No, I don't need to do any of that. So, hey, Michael, do you not look at all my cooking stuff? So that's just the meat for the prep. I'm not eating that meat there. That is meat that's going to go into the other stuff. Right? I'm not eating that chicken right there. That chicken's going in the fridge. And then we cook it into all the rice and stuff later. And you see all the peppers and other stuff that we add. Right? So you might have missed that. Although feel free to comment on that. Right? Feel free to comment. You know. So definitely post that under the chicken. Do you know why? I get paid for every single comment on that page. I don't know if you knew that or not. So if you want to start a whole conversation underneath my chicken, I would love it. Start an argument with people about the merits of air frying. Right? Please. You know, so it's all good. Oh. Yeah. So no, that is just the food for prep. So if you look at my meals themselves, which I'll link for people who don't understand, you know. So if you actually look, this is an example of the food, right? Which I'll put in the comments. So that is my meals from yesterday. So if you look at that, you'll understand what I'm saying about, you know, the food itself. So then you can see, you know, when you look at that, it's like, oh, you can see how it's all cooked into the stuff. It goes into the Instapot, and then those first 2 plates came out of that Instapot, right? So then I put all those peppers and then we put seasoning and other stuff in there. There's soy sauce and all sorts of stuff in the brown rice, right? So that's what's happening with it. Yeah. So no, that chicken is just the oven baked chicken that we're gonna dice up later and put into Instapot stuff with brown rice and sweet potatoes and broccoli and all that. All right. I don't think people realize how I actually eat. But I mean, I put it all up on social media. It's just that YouTube is not really a picture platform. So, we're not going to see all that. So what have they done with this to where, yeah, you have to install an app literally. They want you to do an app for the community. That's strange. There, now it's letting me do it. That's really weird. Okay. Let me link the live what we got going here. We'll get a few more people in here, hopefully. There we go. It wouldn't let me do a community post at first. That was really, really strange. I don't know why. It wanted me to scan a QR code, but we should be good now. We should be good. So I made a little post, and then it will let people know in case they just didn't hit their feed. They'll hit the community post. Hey, Carol, what's up? I appreciate the like. Hey, Carol, if you'd hop over, I'm also streaming on Facebook concurrently. If you'll hit that like over there too. Carol, you missed the whole walk. I did a 2-hour, 20-minute walk on Facebook this morning, and you're sometimes in there. It did good, though. It did pretty decent. All right, it did pretty decent. But, right. Had a fair number of views. Yeah, you missed it. I mean, I was up early. I was at 4:30 in the morning, but you're over in Poland, so I figure it's definitely in your time zone. I'll comment on my own. Right. Yeah, you missed it, man. But it's all good. We have plenty of people in there though, and those will keep blowing up. I think eventually when that hits the algorithm the way it used to, I'll get hundreds of people in there. So I mean, I had some of the live streams there, and when I was actually flowing the page good, I was getting like 3,000-4,000 views on some of the lives, but they weren't running ads like they do now. What's better, 3 sets twice a week or 6 sets once a week? Oh man, Nick, we can make a big debate about that. We can make a massive debate about that. I don't want to give like a concrete answer on that because there's so much nuance. If a person really wanted, I mean, if we're going to discuss maybe optimizing muscle protein synthesis, et cetera, we could make the case for the 3 sets twice a week being potentially slightly better, definitely from a neural drive. But it's so tit for tat that if you just want to do your stuff on a split once a week with 6 sets, you'll be just fine. I mean, if we wanted to argue absolute optimization, there's a reason I do like some of the higher frequencies sometimes, Like even for me, since I'm just doing the training maxes 3 days a week, and then my hypertrophy work, my strength will probably start climbing back up, which is literally what we're seeing with the benching. That 335 was not a max, and it was flat back with a 2-second pause. It was just, right. Andrew Jacobs says, hey, Blaha, what's going on? We're getting cardio did. That's what's going on. All right, we're doing our fasted cardio this morning. I think definitely from a neural drive and a strength perspective, frequency does matter, right? But from the muscle growth, we could argue it a lot as to which one, whether it would actually matter or not. And I think too many people do worry about optimization a little too much, whose lifestyles aren't optimal. Because it's like, how would I put it? What would be worth more muscle growth? An extra 30 minutes of sleep every night, or exactly optimizing your muscle protein synthesis from training? I'd argue the extra 30 minutes of sleep is probably worth 5 times the muscle growth. Makes sense. How do you feel about swimming for general fitness? I think swimming is good. I see no problem with swimming. I think it's great. Hey, coach, I did a heavy Romanian deadlift for the first time in months, and I can't walk normally with soreness. Yeah, because it's an eccentric based movement. Like RDLs, because of the eccentric stretch nature, are going to be a little more prone to DOMs than, say, a conventional deadlift. So you did one really heavy, right? You did really heavy RDLs and haven't done them in a while. It's just DOMs. So you have to be aware of that with the different movements you pick, right? Eccentric loading, stretch position movement, more likely to cause muscle soreness, right? By the nature of it. No comments yet on the Facebook. Oh, we'll let it keep flowing. Well, like I said, we had about 70 or so, looks like, in the first one. It's still slower there, but it's good though, because I picked up a client out of it. Jason the King of Barbell and YouTube, appreciate it, Scott. Man, that's what's crazy right now. All of a sudden, now that I'm doing a single bike one of these every day, I'm getting way more donations. All right. But I appreciate it, Scott. Appreciate the love. Or heavy Romanian deadlifts go to build huge glutes for female clients. They're okay. I mean, if you're going to argue, technically a deep squats, full deep squats are probably arguably a hair better. But are Romanian deadlifts a solid glute builder? Yes. But if I was going to pick one movement that is king, deep squats, ass to grass squats. And then other supplemental stuff helps. Like if someone really wants massive glutes, there's a point where hip thrusts and glute bridges as an additional can help. But the squat's always going to do the most base building. The other stuff is good secondary additions, though, if you really want to prioritize glutes. But remember, the back squat is king, and it's a good base builder. Right? Show me a woman who can do 185 pounds for sets of 10 ass to grass, and she's going to have glutes. And people who say, oh, that's a hard, but that's not an impossible. That's like asking a guy to get to 315 for 10. Show me a guy who can do 315 for 10 ass to grass, and I'll show you a dude with massive glutes. Right? So that's the point. What are Romanian deadlifts? Andrew Jacobs, an RDL. It's just also called an RDL. It's a deadlift where you start at the top, you push your hips back and you stop short of the floor, but you turn it into a hamstring stretch movement. It's an eccentric based deadlift where you start at the top and then go down into a stretch and then use the hamstrings to snap it back up. Right? Whereas in a normal conventional deadlift, you pull off the floor. OJC, have you ever tried Widowmaker squats? You've seen me do them on camera. Plus, from my history, I used to do them early on. My first year of lifting, I kind of came up on Widowmakers. That's how I was taught to train. Coach, did you invent the Widowmaker squat? No. I am not old enough to have invented the term. I'm only 48. All right. Do you still keep in touch with any of the brothers? No, that from way back in the day. Keep in mind, we didn't have social media like this. We had MySpace and stuff was kind of starting. There was no Facebook. There was no Instagram. None of that stuff existed. So now I've moved on. Now that you mention it, though, let me see. Let me check Facebook. Let me see if any of them have stuff. I'm not going to say the name out loud, but I'm actually checking. No. Wait. Man, he got old. Yep, lives in the same town. Oh, man. I just looked one up. He's got a Facebook profile. Man, he's gotten old. He was older than me back then. He's got to be like almost 60. The CW looks like he still lifts. Is that girl? He's got a wife in here. Let me see. Is that girl he met at the gym? So he was one of those smart guys. Okay, you guys want to hear what this dude did? I'm not going to say his name. I found his Facebook. It's definitely one of the gym bros. 100% I knew his full name. We used to hang out. I was outside the gym. He was on lots of gear too. He was big on Test Deboldeka. He was lean dude. So I just looked one up, right? So now that you mention it, it's hilarious. So he was one of those guys who, there was one of the girls who she had a pretty face, but she was overweight and she was over on the treadmill, right? And you could tell we've been watching her a little bit. She had lost about 20 pounds, right? But she was pretty, but she was still heavy. And he went over, starts talking to her, right? He's like, I'm going to go chat her up. And he comes over to it on the treadmill. That's good. He was all ripped and everything. He was like 180 pounds with abs. And he actually worked at like a group physical fitness instruction job. I'm not going to say where. But so he starts talking to her and they start dating, right? And he gets her under. I look over and within a week, he's got her over in the weight room, not just on the treadmill. And it turned out she was an RN. So she was a nurse, really pretty, but still heavy and trying to get in shape. And so he kind of swooped in. And over the next few months, she got into really good shape and was super fit and pretty. And they hooked up. And last time I checked, they were engaged. So that was kind of a funny thing with him. Like he just kind of swooped in. He's like, she got a pretty face and she's in here losing weight. I'm going to go talk to her. He's like, watch this. And he goes over on the treadmill next to her. He's like, struck up a conversation. And like I said, a week later, he's over there teaching her how to squat. Oh, man. And then they were a couple, one of those fitness couples. But, yeah. It's hilarious you mentioned that because I'm like, let me go look him up. I'm going to add him. I sent him a friend request. All right. Are you just training? Yeah, I'm only lifting 3 days a week. I'm doing full body. And then I do sled afterwards so far the last couple of days. So I do the full body. So I'm starting with training maxes in my other hypertrophy work, then sled work, then cardio. All the other days is cardio. And this is deep. I already did 2 hours, 20 minutes on Facebook on my walk. So this is the bike. So yeah, Scott, we're doing 3 days right now. I just saw a new study that more than 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight could be harmful because of ammonia. I don't think so, Carol. I really doubt it. I think that's overhyped. I've never seen data, but that's also our optimal muscle growth, isn't it? Okay. That's where muscle growth, there doesn't seem to be any muscle growth benefit beyond that. And that 0.8 doesn't mean you need the 0.8 to grow. It's that's where there seems to be no benefit at all. You could still go lower and still get good, probably optimal muscle growth depending on protein quality. So I think that raises a point of, do we really need more? I mean, that's the thing. I talked a lot about the protein overfeeding, but realistically, the protein overfeeding is purely from small amounts of fat loss if you're willing to force feed protein, hundreds and hundreds of extra grams. If we had data like that, then we could come over though and say, okay, maybe doing 0.7 to 0.8 grams. We already know that's optimal for muscle growth, right? I mean, and I would almost say to guys, as long as you're not a vegan, hell, you could throw 2 scoops of whey in every morning at some point with your breakfast, wherever you happen to eat. And you probably would never need to track protein or care about it at all, honestly. But even in that case, I mean, like for me, I know I get at least 100 grams of animal source protein a day right now, and I don't care about it beyond that. I get more than I plan on, because when I start looking at it, man, I eat more protein than I thought I did. It's like, it's almost impossible for me to realistically even do 150 grams, because every time I check it, say, I wonder how much I ate, it ends up being like 180, 200 grams, even if I'm like, I just need to get 150 or whatever. Like, I almost can't drop it that low unless I try to go vegan or something. Then it obviously would. But, like my chicken breast tends to push it over. Aren't you so right about junk food? I avoided the bakery like the plague because I know I just can't stop. Exactly. Just avoid it. If you just avoid all the processed stuff, It's so much easier, right? It makes things so much easier and less complicated, doesn't it? I'll let you guys know if the dude, if he accepts my friend request, if he remembers who I am. It'll be funny because he helped me with my first gear cycle back in the day. One of the bros. Probably laugh if he sees me now. He'd be like, "What? You're like 48. What?" 2 good meals a day can be enough. Yeah. But I mean, and I think when we have these discussions about protein, no one's over here saying eat a low protein diet. So even when I make these things, people are like, "Oh, that's not too low." But guys, that is a huge amount of protein. Again, we start talking even 0.8. But again, we know that anything over, as long as it's not vegan, we know anything over a gram per kilo of body weight is enough. If it's all plant source, yeah, it's not going to work. We know it's going to be problematic. But if there's a pretty good amount of animal source, like true quality animal source protein in there, 100 grams, if we look at the data for most of you guys, would still build plenty of muscle. What we're saying is the RDA of like 60 is obviously too low, right? You try to do 60 or 70 grams of plant source protein only a day, yeah, your muscle growth is absolutely going to suffer. Okay. No one's saying the RDA. But even realistically, so even if we say like 0.6, right, up to about 0.8 grams. So let's say you're a lean 180-pound guy. Let's say 185, because most of us don't need to be over that. 185 ripped is jacked as hell. All right, so what is that? So up to about 110, up to about 150 grams of protein. All right, that's your optimal range. That's still double or more the RDA. So no one's saying eat the RDA. All right. Scott, but 3 days a week can be a lot of training. Depends on what you're doing. Keep in mind the amount of cardio I'm doing. So, but realistically, that's still a lot of protein. But if we're exceeding that, I'm telling most guys, almost nobody's making gains past 150 grams. Like even Nasser El Sambate said way back in the day, he went into an Olympia one year and dropped his protein down to 150 grams, and he's like, I still placed like third in the Mr. Olympia, eating 150 grams of protein a day. And this is the people who you would expect to get the most. You're like a massive guy on lots of drugs. He could probably use way more protein. And even he had said, I did 150 grams that one year from instead of 300. He's like, I still made a little bit. I was still bigger than the year before. I still placed, and this is the person who you're like, oh yeah, all those drugs he would benefit from so much more. But even he didn't really. He's like, no, I did just fine. He's like, I still gained like another pound of muscle between the year. So again, and this is all data driven, but I mean, no one's saying to eat low protein and no one's telling you to go vegan here. So we need to understand the difference. It's stepping back and saying, what is pushing away from the push of the supplement industry? But that's also where protein is still useful. Like I'm not even saying whey protein is useless because at the end of the day, it's an extremely bioavailable protein. And I would go so far as to say, if you had 2 scoops of whey protein, most of you guys would be just fine on all your needs, even if you went full plant stuff after that, because it's such a high quality protein. But again, I eat meat. So no, I hope no one's saying, well, I was telling you to do that. Because every day right now, like yesterday, if you guys saw my meals, there was chicken breast, there was eggs, there was Greek yogurt in my plates, So let me be clear, I just eat 2 meals a day of protein. It takes about 1.2 grams per kilogram body weight, and I'm doing good on it. Yeah, it's probably fine. If there's animal source. Now we do know from that one study of pure vegan at around 1.2, didn't work that well. Purely plant-based didn't work on that low of an intake. But if it's the data shows that if it's mixed and there's lean animal proteins in there, you're probably good, right? Again, if we go off of what we have for data, you know, and the same thing we can make the case for our healthy fats, you know. So we come over to that and say, okay, so what if we try to get about, you know, as long as we're getting about 1.4 per pound of body weight, but what is that really? You know, so even if we're talking 185-pound lean guys, it's what, about 80 grams of healthy fat? You know? So what is that, around 700 calories of healthy fat in your diet? I mean, you could do everything else carbohydrate, or you could fill it with other stuff. I mean, the person could say, you know what, I only need whatever grams of carbs to train on. You can fill the rest with healthy fats, and you'd probably be okay too, but you're not going to be as full. And this is where I tell people you don't have to be dogmatic with it, because here's the thing. We could argue the carbohydrates for insulin response. We could argue the carbohydrates for glycogen storage training fuel. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're doing a lot of GPP, if you're doing like sled work like I'm doing out there, man, you need some extra carbs for that. Absolutely. But what do healthy fats do? When you step away from all the saturated fat, which reduces insulin sensitivity, if you're pounding down more healthy fats, you have a better insulin response. Like healthy fats improve insulin sensitivity. Study after study after study. So plant-based PUFAs and RUFAs, we're talking about. In other words, guys, eat some peanut butter or avocados is what I'm saying, so that people understand what we mean by that, right? Oh, Scott, I mean, potatoes, rice, and grains. I mean, look at my food. Scott, look at my food. Right there, my meals from yesterday. I mean, what do you see? What do you see from my non-protein calorie sources? You see brown rice, you see sweet potatoes, and you see oats. So potatoes, rice, and grains, they're all falling into that category. No, I mean, absolutely. You know, absolutely. So, yeah, see that 56 healthy carbs. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, but I'm saying with that, we can be too dogmatic. I mean, yeah, I prefer the higher carb approach, but if a person's getting enough for their training fuel, sure, they could take a lot of those other calories and fill them with specifically healthy fats, like I mentioned, that improve insulin sensitivity, and they'll make better use of the other carbs you're eating. So I don't think we have to do it just that way. But I think that ideally for health, you probably want about the 0.4 grams per pound of body weight in terms of just healthy fats for overall inflammatory response, better insulin sensitivity, positive effect on your lipids. And then you could fill the rest of it all with healthy carbohydrates and do really well. Or you could choose to fill more of it with the healthy fats if you were so inclined. I don't think that there's a one size fit all. I think as long as we're in that range, we're probably going to be close to optimal for body composition, performance, insulin sensitivity, nutrient partitioning, controlling inflammation, right? Obviously, the more vegetables and antioxidants, better. Egg yolks are an okay. They're actually pretty decent. If you go look at the profile, egg yolks, as long as you're not eating huge amounts of eggs, it's still very low saturated fat, right? So go look at the fat breakdown. It's actually pretty reasonable. And there's some cardioprotective with eggs. I kind of did that whole video on eggs. The other thing, yeah, I'm doing about 2 eggs a day myself, but that's kind of my threshold. I do 2 eggs. So is what I mix in with the breakfast usually at the moment. But that's probably my only real significant source of saturated fat. And even then, it's what, 2 or 3 grams? I mean, I probably eat 5 total grams of saturated fat a day. That's extremely low. Right? We're well within all the dietitians' recommendations and even the American Heart Association at that point. So again, it's a quantitative thing, how much saturated fat are we eating? It's not that all of it's bad. The amount, so for me, with 2 eggs a day, whole eggs a day, is my main source of saturated fat. Hey, Scott, but is that data driven? So you have to look closer into the larger picture, right? But again, it's still a quantitative issue. Sure, you could eat enough eggs to have too much saturated fat, but it's guys who are pushing a dozen eggs a day, But, in my case, I'm looking at it some potential cardioprotective benefits, like Carol says, the choline, choline, however we say it, is cardioprotective to some extent. So again, you've got to look at it from a context of the balance of the diet. Like I said, I did that whole video the other day on eggs and the whole history of the science behind it. If you guys saw that one, I don't know if you did. Michael over here on Facebook, he's a powerlifter, good guy. Sweet potatoes, rice, and oats are 90% of my huge carb intake daily. I mean, yeah. Other than in my case, obviously, Michael, I have the avocados in there too. But, those are my staples at the moment too. Sweet potatoes, brown rice, oats. I could do white potatoes and basmati rice, so I'd be just as happy. I just want the higher fiber right now and the higher antioxidants at the moment. But I appreciate you chiming in here, Michael. I'm streaming on both platforms right now. I'm on Facebook and YouTube. We're doing it all concurrently. All right. What? A new study showed deadlifts and leg curls grow the hamstrings equally effectively. Uh-oh. I just saw that in my feed. Think about upping my veggies to 500 grams of spinach. I mean, dude, I actually eat at least that much broccoli every day. That's a lot of spinach, though. I haven't been buying the spinach last week or so. Because I'm doing all those peppers instead. It's like that's kind of my one fresh raw vegetable is I dice up all those peppers. I figure between that and the broccoli, I'm pretty good. Then again, I'm also eating sweet potatoes and stuff every day and avocados. Yeah. Yep. But feed me mortals just thinking about that. And I mean, so you're talking about eating a whole kilogram of vegetables a day. I mean, it wouldn't be horrible for you. I don't like kale personally, Scott. I don't want to steam a bunch of veggies. I just do my frozen broccoli in the Instapot with all my rice and just cook it into it. And I just dice the peppers up. Or if I do spinach, I'll dice it up. Sometimes if I'm doing spinach, I'll chop it up and mix it into the over easy eggs while they're cooking. I think a kilogram is a bit much. I mean, mortal, no, as long as your GI tract is handling it, you're adapted to that much insoluble fiber. A kilogram of green vegetables a day is good. I mean, again, you want a data-driven answer? Researchers have said as long as your gut has the flora to handle the fiber, there seems to be no upper threshold to some of the minor health benefits of antioxidant intake from mixed vegetables and fruits. When you do it in powder form, supplemental form, they think it causes cancer, by the way. So people are like, oh, so in that case, I'm just going to supplement a bunch of vitamin C. They're like, they think it actually, well, some of those do increase cancer rates because you're taking a single form instead of having 27 different antioxidants in one food and 38 more in another food mixed together. It's the mixed high variety antioxidant that seem to give you the health benefits. When you supplement a single heavy dose of one antioxidant in isolation, some of it seems to be carcinogenic, right? So people have missed the difference between supplementing a single extract versus am I eating 58 different antioxidants in massive amounts in my food? Yeah, I mean, if you like kale, go for it, but I'm not bothering. I'm not bothering with it personally, But to each their own. All right. But man, doing just one big cardio every day, we've been really good on those supers the last couple of days. So that's been solid. Again, I feel like in the case of the YouTube with the live streams, absence makes the heart grow fonder. If I'm only in here an hour a day on the YouTube, it seems like people respond better. I feel like it was overkill. Their algorithm didn't like it. I feel like it was hurting my thing. Whereas in Facebook loves and rewards high frequency. Like YouTube doesn't want you doing 57 million things. They don't reward it. I noticed that, with some of the stuff kicking it into feeds. Facebook rewards 100 posts a day. They literally told us at one time with the bonus program, we're only going to pay your first 3,000 posts every month. Anything beyond 3,000, but you start doing that, that's 100 a day. They gave us official numbers back then on the bonus program, right? We're not going to pay you for more than 3,000 posts a month. And you're like, that's 100 a day. Yeah. But the implication being we're going to pay you for up to that much. So wink, wink. Here's your speed limit. Try to reach it. That counts all your group posts too, by the way. But then they lifted the cap. So on the new program, they removed that hard cap. So they're okay with more than 100 posts a day now. Really enjoyed your recent video on alcohol coach, seeing late 30s and 40s old man getting smashed down. The bar is sad. It is very sad. It's very sad, unfortunately. But what do you do? I don't want to be that guy anymore. I wasn't at the bar though. I was drinking at home and drinking with my ex, and and that doesn't help. People with addictions being with people with other addictions, and they're both drinkers. It's not good. All right, so. Right, that things get socially and the relationship reinforced isn't good at all. No, I agree. At 30 is bad enough, but definitely a 40-year-old man out at the bar. Yeah, unfortunate. This is where the real problems set in, because that prolonged year after year after year. And then they wonder why they get all these different cancers. I mean, all the people harp way too much on the liver aspect and not enough on the cancer. Ginseng, I don't buy into any of these herbal extracts at all, Gustav, for good mental health in the bedroom are results. But you lift weights. So how do you know that the ginseng is doing anything when you're fit and you lift weights? See the problem with this, Gustav? I think correlation, not causation. Drinking is bad, but it's everywhere. It's sad. It's killing me. Yeah, absolutely. I used to spend $200 a month on supplements when I was younger. Then I stopped. I didn't notice a single difference. Everyone tells me that. I get so many people like, dude, you saved me from that. I came off all these supplements years ago, and I just kept making gains. I couldn't even tell. Like, other than I had more money. Right? There's some guys, hey, take that money and hire me to coach you. Well, it's like an NO booster, you get better blood flow. Okay, but there's a point, Gustav, where, that's well and good, but, vaginal skin has limits. So what good is it? If you can already pound pussy for an hour, what good is the second hour if it can't handle it? So I don't really see the benefit, like if you're fit and in shape, and I'm not seeing the point. See what I mean, dude? Like, Do you have 6 porn stars living with you? Like, do you have a harem? Do you have a job? If you do cardio, eat healthy, whole foods, and lift, you don't need blood flow. Exactly my point. Unbelievable. I'm kind of like, oh, like for me, like, what would I do with this? Like, how would this be useful? You know, do you have a harem of porn stars living with you? So why do you need a performance boost if you're already fit? I mean, I get it. If you have 6 porn stars living with you, I understand. But otherwise, it doesn't make any sense, does it? You know, I mean, you're probably not having sex for more than 30 minutes to an hour a day, anyways. You know, you got to have a high sex drive woman. He's talking about his threesomes. All the really good stuff. It's all good. We need to be careful with those topics that are not good for the algorithm. I mean, I honestly don't believe stuff like that's helpful. Like, I think supplements and herbal extracts are pretty much a scam. Jason, you think glycine is a longevity supplement? Yeah. Yeah. You know, no, I've never bought into the whole herbal extract of any type. It's always been a scam. Coach is getting it done today. Yes, we are King Veggie, although I do know you're a troll. We'll see. We'll see how you behave. The older you get, the more you realize most things are grift. They really are. Herbal extracts. That's been the biggest scam for 80 years. Ruther's ginseng extract. It's just like, you know, Gustav, if you're fit and lifting weights, that's probably what caused it. You know, just saying. So basically, you're performing normally like any healthy, fit man should before we had all this obesity and sedentary and alcohol and all this epidemic. My buddy used to weigh so much on BCAAs in the late, and yeah, I just said liver plastic cleansing supplements is non-negotiable. I immediately thought Coach would not say this in a particular is non-negotiable. Exactly. Liver cleanse. Really? What a scam. What a scam. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. At this point, I feel like it's going to be bonus cardio because I'm going to end up doing a weight vest walk at some point, a spree fun. We're already past 3 hours of fasted cardio. The latest one is a parasite cleansing against people that are infected with parasites. That's not new. That's a reoccurring my whole lifetime. No, we didn't whoosh down. What's for breakfast, Coach? The same thing as Everyday King. Hey, King, do you follow my Facebook or Instagram? And we are live. We are live, Dean. I'm not going to run this one a lot longer, but we'll see. No, I haven't whooshed down. Dude, I remember parasite cleanses back when I was like 20 years old. So there's your context. Only asking. No, it's all good, man. No, we haven't whooshed yet. It is fitness related. What? I wasn't upset. I don't see why you're acting like an apology. I wasn't mad. So no, we haven't whooshed yet. I did say though in a few of the streams, I feel like my followers are more obsessed with the whooshes than me. As long as I know I'm losing fat, I don't stress it because stressing about your whooshes is correlated with less whooshes. Actually, believe it or not, food skills for everyone or maybe advanced or particular. What? No, I don't think you need it. I understand your answer. Yes, veggie. The same thing I have every day for breakfast. And if you follow my Instagram and Facebook, you will see my breakfast every day. It's all there, dude. We all need 3 sets of side delts, do we? I don't know, maybe. So King Veggie, I'm going to test your troll status now. There's running shoes in my Amazon wish list. You were talking about we should buy you some. So I already added them before you made that post, by the way. They're in there. The wish list is there. I'm going to see if you buy me the running shoes. And if you don't, I know you're a troll. So if I don't see those running shoes bought later today, I'm probably going to ban you. All right. That's messed up. Man, that's not right. I shouldn't be that way, dude. I'm just in one of those moods today, man. We're just not putting up with crap. Research is loaded up with those numbers. We could argue how much do you need to do side delts? I guess that's a point of contention in and of itself, isn't it? Man. Or do you just need to train and just get lean enough? I guess it depends on how much side delt you're in the pursuit of, really. You know? Interesting, though, that we see great delts on some dudes who are just lean and do lots of overhead pressing. But again, we're not talking bodybuilder show quality delts, of course. Everybody on social media just pins their delts anyways. I see way too much of that. You know? But, you know, I think some plate laterals work really well. Oh, man. King Veggie didn't reply to that. Oh, man. Probably a little congested. Nike are terrible. I don't know anything about running shoes, really, dude. You know, I used to run in Nikes when I was younger and did just fine. So, well, you know, my size is 10 and a half. You could always send a different pair that you feel are better. But I like Nike. Are you going heavy on bench on Monday? Probably, yeah. Why pinning shoulders that are worse than pinning glutes? Hey, Dean, I don't know. That's what, well, because they want the big shoulders. So keep in mind, current bodybuilding standards, you have to pin your delts, even in the lighter weight classes, to have the shoulder size that they want. You can't do it from lifting weights. So they have to side enhance the shoulders. And so the trend, I see tons and tons of shoulder pinning, even smaller dudes all on Facebook all the time, all day on my feed. Right? Like one of the carnivore guys who's in there all the time, you can tell he pins the hell out of his shoulders. So, well, yeah, it's swelling and scar tissue. So pinning gear does the same thing that Synthol does. Just, you know, you got to have the same amount as Synthol to get the same effect. All right, so it builds up scar tissue, encapsulated oil, you know. Yep. Shoulders over the shadow chest. Yeah, I agree, Scott. And it's a problem. I feel like it destroys aesthetics. Absolutely destroys it. You know, in my opinion. Right, in my opinion. But keep in mind, the size benefit is not muscle, it is size. Know the difference. I mean, again, builds up scar tissue and encapsulated oil. That creates size. But Scott, you were right. The shoulders absolutely overshadow chest now. And if you compare, so I mean, perfect example, I had a beautiful one I saw with a front relaxed of Arnold next to Bumstead. Who had bigger delts and who has bigger pecs? Arnold had more pec, Bumstead had twice as much delt. Interesting. You know, so you look at those classic aesthetics versus the modern classic. Arnold's much better. I agree. But just making a note of it. Making a note of it. Arnold had the best chest. He did have a good chest, no doubt. Get rid of the goofball troll and ban him in my Facebook Live. All right, next. I don't get many of those. That's a rare one. It happens. How can people not know understand the backstory on the fake Merc thing? It's like people act like, didn't you lie about, I never said special forces, never said military. And then it's like, did you ever admit you lied? It's like, yeah, like 10 years ago. Like, that should have ended a long time ago. I think 7, 8 years ago, I made a 15-minute apology video. Like, that should pretty much be the end of it. You know? Oh, he didn't keep saying it for years. He actually literally issued an apology. People act like the fake Merc thing is still going. That's what's crazy. Guys, did people know that's been over 10 years? Right? That whole publicity thing, which was stupid. Like, I literally made in a video like 8 years ago that it was the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. And that I deeply regretted it. People forget, they act like it's something still occurring. I deleted all of it 10 years ago. So any of it still in existence is just troll stuff remix floating around. I deleted all of it 10 years ago. Yeah. Is it anniversary patrols? It would be. Would you consider doing lives when you start doing more GBP? What do you mean? No, I'm not going to live stream my GBP, Dean. Yeah. Mike Burner says, my Serge Nubray had a better chest. Serge had a great chest too, though. I mean, we can't dispute that, can we? Deleted 10 years ago. Yeah, like people literally are harping about stuff I deleted 10 years ago and acting like it's still happening. Like, imagine that level of crazy obsession. And they act like it was some major part of my life. Or some major part of my channel or outreach. I literally lost followers when I did it. Oh, yeah. Crazy. Yeah, 10 years. Been over a decade. I literally deleted all of it over 10 years ago. They have fist clenched in desperation for you to do it again, right? They really do. I feel like I almost should, just because of the publicity of it. I should get up and make a video saying I'm a mercenary and that I used to do mercenary hitman work and see if it blows up again. 1 million views. I make a bunch of money all of a sudden. But it's stupidity. That's the internet, guys. You know, what are you going to do? But it's so strange that people even act like it's still a thing. It's like, dudes, I literally deleted all of it over 10 years ago. And then I've issued a 15-minute apology video. And then people still act like, did you ever admit, like, dude, I did a 15-minute apology video, 15 minutes long. And my exact words were, it was the most stupid thing I've ever done in my entire life. I mean, I would say that pretty much covers it. All right, next. All right, we're going to wind this down here shortly. Then. We're almost at an hour. It's been a successful stream. Got views on both platforms. Got super chats. Man. We'll go ahead and hit the 60-minute mark. I'm going to go ahead and wind the Facebook down. All right. I'm going to turn it into a reel. Should we? Yeah, we should turn it into a reel. We might as well. And I'll stay in here with you guys for another short bit. All right, is it going to do it? publish the reel. Okay. All right, guys. So we've also hit the hour in here. So I'm going to wind it down. I appreciate the super chat, Scott. Love you guys, and I'll talk to you next time.